Good afternoon from Buenos Aires. We're here at another DPIN day, and today is actually a very special day because it's the launch of Filecoin Onchain Cloud. I'm here with the CEO of FilOz, Molly, whose team has been behind making sure that the Filecoin Onchain Cloud is the product that it is today. I would love to ask a few questions about the new capabilities of Filecoin Onchain Cloud. So Molly, you've been in the Filecoin ecosystem for some time. And for those that aren't as familiar with Filecoin, walk us through the years of Filecoin over the last 5 years. We just celebrated our 5th birthday. And what is new about Onchain Cloud that isn't just Filecoin with a bunch more features? Tell us really what it unlocks and what Filecoin has been through year by year.
Yeah, so if I'm going to talk about the building blocks of the Filecoin Onchain Cloud, I actually have to start long before 5 years ago, which was the mainnet launch of Filecoin, already back over 10 years ago, which is the first lines of code that went into IPFS, which is the content addressing system that we and most of the rest of Web3 utilize to make sure that content is verifiable and immutable on the Web3 networks. That was kind of the first building block. We then built libp2p, which is now used in almost every blockchain for peer-to-peer messaging and data transfer, and then built IPLD, which is the kind of like core content ID or CID formats that are used broadly, which is kind of like the content addressing goodness inside of IPFS. And all of that layered up into building the fundamental primitives that then made Filecoin possible. And so that was making sure that we could bring that to life in a real blockchain network with real proofs of verifiable storage, and that led to kind of the 2020 mainnet launch moment. And since 2020, we've been working on making that storage more accessible, more upgradable, easier to use, and bringing it kind of step by step closer to the end product a client needs to interoperate with for seamless access to decentralized storage. So kind of our first steps were scaling the network, amassing amazing community of decentralized storage providers around the world. Then it was building the kind of like core data pipelines and patterns for processing large-scale data and enabling it to onboard into the Filecoin ecosystem. We then realized that kind of a core kind of missing building block was the programmability layer of Filecoin. So we launched the Filecoin virtual machine. We enabled many different builders and smart contract programmers to start composing their own applications, interfacing with kind of the core storage proofs and data sets within Filecoin. But we realized that, really you needed a very deep understanding of Filecoin and how it was architected in order to build truly programmable markets and smart contracts that would unlock storage all the way to the end client and customer. And so just about a year and a half ago, we started working on a project called FWS, Filecoin Web Services, which has transformed and built out this base layer that we're now calling the Filecoin Onchain Cloud. And it really holds on to this core hypothesis that having robust, simple, easy to use markets inside Filecoin operating at the smart contract layer, so they're highly forkable, programmable, upgradable, and rapid, that was kind of a key missing building block. And it's allowed us to do a whole ton of things in Filecoin that weren't possible before. We now have real-time stablecoin payments, so you can come and have your normal USD monthly billing operating inside of Filecoin. You can make sure that billing is directly connected to on-chain payments using wallets and smart contracts, and that it's only being paid out based on the verifiable proofs of storage that are happening on the network. We also added a new hot storage proof to Filecoin, so now you can compose more Glacier tier storage alongside more hot S3 tier storage, so that you can have kind of more dynamic applications that are composing those as they're needed. And kind of building this all in smart contracts means that it's forkable and upgradable. So we've actually already had a number of groups adding on services into this on-chain cloud network. So we now have a egress payment service where you can, as a storage provider, be paid for the specific data that you're serving, and you can even we're starting to unlock the ability to bring large-scale data sets to Filecoin and then earn by other people paying to request and access your data. It's a huge market that is now becoming possible. We also have folks like Storacha who are remixing these smart contracts to offer their own storage services on-chain, on Filecoin, with all of the kind of like Filecoin Pay baseline goodness that we need. And so it's the super exciting moment for the whole Filecoin ecosystem. It's exciting because everyone's suddenly getting this aha moment of, I can put my data on Filecoin storage providers, get back an IPFS CID, fetch my data back in real time, and it all just works, and I don't need to do anything, which is just revolutionary. But also having these things at the programmable smart contract layer inside of FPM means that we've unlocked a whole exciting future of new composable services that we can upgrade, that an entire community can work within. So it's now literally at our fingertips to start running kind of like scalable data processing and compute jobs inside the Filecoin Onchain Cloud over data stored in Filecoin, then accessing retrieval of that data to power websites or graphs or real-time applications. And so just like all these building blocks coming together is a truly, truly exciting moment.
Amazing. So to recap, year one of Filecoin, we built the world's largest decentralized storage network. I think at some point there was 5 or 6 exabytes of available storage. Year two, we really tested the throughput of the network, making sure all kinds of data could work. I also think that year we really dominated the market in owning the NFT side of the house, where content addressing was really important. Year three was really around how do we really think about different markets within Filecoin. Year 4 and year 5, where we are today, we're really thinking about how to make sure that people can make money building on top of Filecoin. That service layer is really there, and that we can really see many markets come out. And also the great part is builders today don't have to necessarily have to do it all themselves. I think one thing that I've certainly heard at a lot of conferences is people have a complex time figuring out the Lego blocks to get Filecoin to work. And Filecoin Onchain Cloud, it sounds like, really brings that whole piece together, simplifies that experience for most developers to start building and most users to be able to use more of Web3 native effortless payment structures to be able to immediately get their content on the cloud, retrieve it, and only pay for what they retrieve. So there is no monthly fee that they have to keep paying if they're not using that data. That is amazing. While we wrap it up, I would love to hear some of the major announcements we made today with a few of the partners that we're also presenting on stage. Molly, do you want to recap us through the launch partners?
Very much. Yeah, we've had an amazing community of builders who have been trialing out and stress testing the Filecoin Onchain Cloud for the last couple of months in production. So we had a group of early builders who've been hacking on this Synapse SDK. And to exactly your point, folks want really easy TypeScript APIs and to make things, not have to have them go all the way to the storage provider, but just have things that just work. And so we finally brought that level of ease of use to Filecoin, and the builders are now, agreeing with us. This is easy. This is exactly what I need in order to have the storage layer get out of my hair and let me focus on building a really great application. We had a lot of amazing applications from FilOz, which is doing a DocuSign alternative with fully on-chain and encrypted data, to Cha-Ching, which is doing kind of like governance data archival so that our EIPs and FIPs and other critical governance data sets are all stored and you have incentive models around them. There's eStore, which is building a Dropbox. And then we have some of the big awesome names. So we have ENS and Safe, who are making it easy to put DeFi websites on Filecoin and kind of govern access to updating those decentralized front ends so that we can keep safe our Uniswap and SushiSwap front ends from potential attackers, which is so valuable and so important. We've been working with the Kive team to archive large-scale chain data onto Filecoin, and actually not just archive, but fetch and load in real time so you can rehydrate a chain archival node based on the exact data that they need in order to be kind of responding and hosting their own RPCs. We've been working with the Trustless Agents community, the ERC 8004 group, so that they can have truly robust metadata that's content addressed with IPFS, that's stored on decentralized storage providers, so no one can take down autonomous models, and they're not kind kind of like subject to any centralized points of failure. And we're just so excited also to have some of the long time on-ramps in Filecoin, Staracha and Akave, also bringing their kind of S3 APIs, their ease of use and kind of like on-ramp tools on top of the Filecoin Onchain Cloud. So they're interacting directly with smart contracts. They're making on-chain paid deals. They're scripting and utilizing these tools so that they have to do less and their users get more robust proofs of how Filecoin is working on their behalf. So you don't have to trust Akave or Staracha to stick around long term. You know your data is safe on Filecoin. And so I'm so excited and so thankful that these many folks have started building. Oh, I forgot the Geo podcast team, which is putting podcast data on Filecoin. So it's just exploding right now, and we're so excited to work with many more builders to get Huddle 01 data and WeatherXM data, and just this entire Web3 community utilizing these new rails that are now so accessible and easy to use.
Yeah, and it's also great to see even projects that are going through an upcoming mainnet launch like Monad. Think about all of their builders being able to immediately use Filecoin for their AI blueprint program. So we're seeing so much interest from so many different sectors. Thank you for joining us, Molly. This was fantastic. And,
thank you, Clara.
And stay tuned for more about Filecoin Onchain Cloud as we go through mainnet ourselves in January.
Yeah. Tune in for mainnet launch in January. So excited to see you all.
Yeah.